helping to bridge the funding gap for college students. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. With us from the Last Mile Education Fund is founder and CEO Ruthe Farmer. Hi, Ruth.
Hi, Fred. Good to see you.
Great to meet you. Well, let's start with some background. What is the Last Mile Education Fund?
So the Last Mile Education Fund is a disruptive approach to scholarships. We invest in late stage students in high demand STEM fields like computer science, data science, cybersecurity, engineering. And we focus on covering the costs that you wouldn't normally have covered by a scholarship, like rent, housing, food, transportation, a new laptop, any kind of unexpected expense that might be tripping up a student in those critical last 4 semesters.
Why is there a demand in that particular area? What's going on?
Well, what people don't really realize is there's a ton of money and time and energy being spent on STEM inspiration, like pushing students into the STEM talent pipeline. And that's where most of the scholarship money lies, is at the beginning of college. It dwindles as you get older. And so the assumption is once we get you into college, you're good. But the reality is only 20% of students from the bottom 2 income quartiles finish a college degree within 6 or even 8 years of starting. So to us, that's low-hanging fruit. If we can invest in those students, get them over the finish line, that's a lot less work than convincing them to get the major in the first place. So we're helping those students who have proven themselves. They've made it all the way halfway through. If you have navigated higher education and financial aid of the United States and an engineering degree as a low-income student, we need you to finish because you have proven yourself and you have tremendous potential. So we invest on average about $1,100 per student, but our grants go as high as $10,000. And we're here to cover the gap between what a student has and what they need to actually finish and get to graduation and into a job.
So who is eligible to apply for one of these grants?
So we have funding for students at actually at all levels. We have funding for community college students in cybersecurity through our partnership with Microsoft. We have funding for undergraduates in their last 2 years or last 4 semesters of a degree in a computing related discipline. And then we're recently added some funding for master's degree students. So our goal is to find all the capital that's out there. Any company that is wanting to hire software engineers can make this last mile investment, and then that's going to get them talent almost immediately. We're investing in students who are within 6 to 18 months of graduation. So that $1,100 is really high, really quick ROI.
And are there certain income thresholds, things like that?
We take an abundance viewpoint to who qualifies. So if a student is qualified for federally subsidized student loans, they are qualified for our funding. We also fund students who are in the DACA program, as well as international students. So we're trying to make sure everyone has the support that they need. If a student can't, demonstrate financial need in a traditional way, then we will look at their narrative answers and do a quick interview with them to establish need. So we're here to fund students who are low income, but we know that lots of things disrupt families' income, and those things can have a delay in where they show up in paperwork. So we're trying to take as much of a generous approach as we can.
Terrific. Well, tell us about you, Ruth, and how this came about.
Sure. I've been in the diversity and inclusion in tech space for about 20 years and building lots of programs to push students into the talent pipeline. And I kept seeing really promising students starting to stumble over relatively trivial things. And so a young woman that I had been watching since she was about a senior in high school down in Mississippi had made it all the way to her junior year in software engineering at Mississippi State, and had a confirmed internship at one of the biggest banks in the country, which she was going to cancel because she could not afford a bus ticket from Mississippi to North Carolina or get a place to live until she got paid, because most of the internships don't pay you for your housing or your relocation until you get there. That's assuming that you have access to credit and capital. And when that happened to her, her professor and I worked together to fix that and intervene. But then we thought, how many kids are out there? How many great high potential students are out there who don't have someone that is stepping up to help them? And so she and I Ryan and Sarah and I all sat down at a conference in 2019, and we said, we have to scale this. We have to figure out how to do this for any student and get the word out, because lots of affluent students have these issues. Their cars break down too, or their laptops die, and they call their parents, and their parents give them the cash. But there's a huge number of students who are striving and trying, and they just don't have a safety net. So we're acting as a national safety net for what we call striving technical talent.
Just terrific. So where can people go to learn more?
So we are at lastmile-ed.org online. We're also at Last Mile Fund all over social media. And we invite any of your listeners to share the word with students that they know in their lives. And of course, we invite anyone to contribute, because our funding goes straight into an investment that ultimately every student that we get over the finish line is going to earn more than $40,000 a year more than if they have some college and no degree. And they're going to join the technology workforce, which we all need. And they're going to contribute to innovation, which is what's driving the economy of this country. So there's no downside to making this kind of an investment.
Just terrific. Once again, it's the Last Mile Education Fund. Ruthe Farmer, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you.